What would you say if someone younger than you asked what you wish that you had started sooner in life? Hi, I'm Sarah Beth Clark. If you don't know me, I am 38 years old, and today I wanted to share some of the things that I have found help me heal, grow, and finally feel like I'm able to live for myself instead of just surviving. I hope that some of this resonates with you. For some brief context, I have been living my life on the internet for a little more than 10 years now, so if you've been following me for a while, you might have seen the evolution. I am also a late diagnosed autistic woman with a lot of trauma. I had to live on my own as an 18-year-old with only a GED and no life experience who ended up working in bars as a means to support myself, and my life was absolutely chaotic. I may have been surrounded by way more unhealed people working in the nightlife than you were if you did a traditional kind of college to 9 to 5 path, but maybe not. My neighbors decided to start mowing the lawn as soon as I came out here to film. I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you what I wish that I had done. Maybe that can help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made. First up is therapy. This is the number one thing, and honestly, a lot of what I'm going to say after this might have been avoided if I just started therapy sooner. I understand that access to therapy is a privilege, but I know that I personally spent money I could have been allocating towards therapy and getting the help that I needed for my mental health on other things that were not helpful for me in the long term, including an online shopping habit and alcohol. I can also 100% credit therapy, both individual and couples, for being the reason that my husband Patrick and I are together and as happy as we are today, 13 years on in our relationship. Next is getting to know myself. I spent a lot of time surviving and not much time sitting with myself and in my own body, definitely not thriving. If I had slowed down sooner, if I had been a little bit more connected to myself, I may have realized that I was autistic sooner. I may have pushed to get a diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos sooner and realized that all of the medical issues I was having were all interconnected. Both of these diagnoses have allowed me to be much kinder to myself. I've really slowed down and found peace with being alone. I used to always surround myself with people so that I didn't have to focus on myself and do the inner work. And learning to be alone has really taught me so much about myself. The one thing that I'm still working on, even though I'm pretty far along in my healing journey now, is that I still really cannot envision what my life is going to look like in 5 or 10 years. And as someone who will be nearly 50 in 10 years, that's a little bit grim, but we're getting there. Healing takes work. Another thing I wish I'd started earlier is cutting toxic people out of my life. While loving to hear about the tea and the drama is a nearly universal experience, it is not fun when you're actually living in the middle of it. Cutting out toxic, gossipy, and dramatic people who I became absolutely the worst version of myself around, who left me feeling so stressed out all the time, was such a positive change in my life. Number 4 is decentering romantic relationships. A lot of that drama and toxicity that I talked about in my life resulted from just putting way too much time and energy into romantic relationships that I should have been putting on my platonic friendships and working on myself. I would just be so stressed out, especially in the ones with men. And even in the relationship I'm in with my husband, in more recent years, I have allowed myself to get way more stressed out about my relationship than I should have, when I should have been putting that energy into myself and the things that I can control. Number 5 is not drinking. At one point when I worked in bars, I definitely abused alcohol because I drank for free. Even after I stopped drinking heavily though, I realized that I did not feel good after 1 or 2 drinks. So I quit. It's been over 10 years since I've had a drink, and I really don't miss it at all. It makes such a huge difference in my sleep, my overall well-being, although a lot of factors go into that. And honestly, I think like my skin and my aging, whenever I'm around people who are drinking, I think about how happy I am that I'm never going to have a hangover again. So that's pretty cool. Ugh, I'm too old for this. My back. Speaking of skin, let's talk about skincare and sunscreen. I really wish that I had started getting serious about skincare earlier and wearing sunscreen diligently. I also cannot tell you how much I wish that I had never used a tanning bed, but I did, and that's how I ended up with skin cancer, where the sun doesn't shine, when I was in my mid-30s. But that's a story for an entirely other video. I used to go to sleep in my makeup. I think I washed my face with bar soap. So I smoked for 10 years as well, which I feel like I should have added that to the drinking one. And after I quit smoking, I treated myself to some IPL treatments, and that helped with some of the damage from the sun and from smoking over the years. But I really didn't even use tanning beds that much, and I got skin cancer on my taint. Something else that I wish that I'd prioritized sooner is education. After working in bars, I found my way into marketing, and from there I started my own business. So now I find it pretty hard to prioritize my education, both time-wise and money-wise. And that's really annoying because when I lived in LA, I actually could have finished my associate's degree for free, and I didn't. I've always thought, like, oh, it would be so funny to end up with a doctorate by the time I die. I could be a Dr. Sarah Beth Clark, but with the amount of money that that would cost, unless I got some sort of crazy elderly college scholarship, there's no way that I could see myself spending my time and money that way.
It's been me running back up and down a million times.
You're sweaty.
Yeah. Love you.
Another thing that I wish that I'd spent more time, energy, and money on is hobbies. I've just started really getting into hobbies within the past couple of years. As a neurodivergent person, I really struggle with trying something if I'm not immediately going to be like a prodigy at it. If you are also neurodivergent, maybe you can relate to that a little bit. I cannot even tell you how many times I thought I was going to start something and I like bought all of the stuff to do it, and then I just never did, because what if I'm bad at it? And since I've done therapy and I've grown and I've gotten more comfortable with myself, it's a little bit easier to fail at something, to be honest. I would have much rather spent more of my time, energy, and money on new hobbies and learning to fail at something earlier on in life and like getting to know my own likes and dislikes, rather than getting so caught up in the nonsense that I did. And the last thing that I wish that I had done sooner, at least for this video, there's so many other things, but I could only include but so many, is reformer Pilates. Specifically reformer Pilates. As someone with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, this is the best thing that I have ever done for my hypermobile body. I go 5 to 6 days a week to Pilates, and this is the longest that I have been able to do any activity without getting into the injury and deconditioning cycle, which if you are hypermobile, you are probably very familiar with this. You know what I'm talking about. I've met some really fun and interesting people, and it has given me a routine and a sense of purpose at a time in my life when things felt kind of up in the air. So yeah, Pilates has been amazing for me, and I would recommend that everybody try it at least once. That's it for the things that I wish that I had done sooner in life. If any of those resonated with you, or if you have any of your own that you'd like to share, please drop those down in the comments below. I was hoping I could get the osprey that's been screaming this entire time on video, but has not made an appearance thus far. I will be sharing my journey of self-rediscovery and growth here, so if that's something that interests you and you are a woman or LGBTQIA+ community member, feel free to give me a follow. That is who I am specifically creating content for. And if that is you, you can also feel free to give me a follow at Sarah Overshares over on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!